Welcome to Popcorned Planet. I am Andy Signore. Actor James Franco is breaking his silence. It's been 4 years since the misconduct allegations by students at his school that prompted him to pay a $2 million settlement. However, James is now speaking out, and he spoke to Jess Cagle on Sirius XM for the first time and addressed a lot of the allegations, a lot of the work he's put in, apologies, etc. We're going to go through all of that today in our live show. In fact, I'll put a link to that video at the end of this video. However, right now I want to focus on the Seth Rogan portion of it because I got thoughts on this. James Franco says he has no plans to work with former closest friend Seth Rogan. I don't want Seth or my brother or anyone to have to answer for me anymore. Now, I have a clip. We're going to play the full clip of it, but context before we hear this clip. Seth Rogan said this first. Seth Rogan was prompted to ask, are you going to work with James Franco any further? And he spoke out and offered this comment. He said, when asked about the personal relationship with Franco and their professional relationship, Rogan responded, I don't know if I can define that right now during this interview. I can say it, it has changed many things in our relationship and our dynamic. It's not a coincidence that his long-time running professional relationship with Franco has ended. When the Times reporter mentioned the situation must be painful, Rogan noted, yeah, but not as painful as difficult for a lot of other people involved. I have no pity for myself in this situation. Well said. He's not well said because he can't be seen like, oh, woe is me. But the reality is he is in a bit of a bind here because clearly Rogan and Franco are friends. We're gonna go through that in a minute. I got plenty of evidence to show Rogan and Franco clearly were very close, and Rogan knew a bit of what Franco was doing out there. And so for him to come out and basically admit, no, we have no plans to work together in the future, was interesting. He said, and the reason this was all prompted in the first place was because Seth Rogan himself was called out. Actress Charlene Yee actually did a whole Instagram thread saying that Seth Rogan was enabling people like James Franco. And when Charlene spoke up on the set of the Disaster Artist, the film they worked about Tommy Wiseau, who made The Room, she wanted to leave the film because of things she kept hearing about Franco, who was directing and starring in the film with Rogan, who was a producer. And apparently they attempted to pay her off to just sort of keep her there and shut up. And she wasn't cool with that. She went on a whole Instagram tirade about it, and Seth Rogan was clearly under pressure because she was starting to now put pressure upon him. And that's what prompted Seth Rogan to do this apology. So, or a sort of explanation about Franco and everything else. And when speaking with the Times, he said, well, what can I say except that I despise ABUSC? I would never cover or conceal the actions of someone doing it or knowingly put someone in a situation where they were around someone like that. However, I do look back at a joke I made on Saturday Night Live in 2014, and I very much regret making that joke. It was a terrible joke, honestly. The joke they're referring to is this one.
I decided to prank James Franco. I posed as a girl on Instagram.
I got to pause and start this because it's commentary, fair use.
Told him I was way young.
This was the Ace Hotel incident where James was accused of things with a Scottish 17-year-old. And later, Franco shows up and is like, hey, I was waiting for you at the Ace Hotel. Where were you? And lots of laughs to the crowd and everything else. Like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, yeah, that's so funny. Franco's Instagram scandal. You got to remember, these two were close. And if you don't believe they were close, I implore you to go watch again, for those of you that missed it, the shot-for-shot recreation they did of Bound 2, which was hilarious, by the way. These two were hilarious together. Franco played the part of Kim Kardashian. I'm sorry, Rogan played Kim Kardashian. Franco played Kanye as they recreated the scenes on the bike. It's an amazingly done side-by-side comparison. That's just very, very funny. But again, these two were clearly close friends. When you're making jokes like this, when you're doing skits like this, come on, Seth. Like, you two were close. It's clear close. Now, this sucks for them. It sucks for them, and it sucks that Seth Rogan has to answer for his friend because it doesn't necessarily mean Seth Rogan had anything to do with it. However, I'm so sick of people in Hollywood not being able to just confidently say, look, James is my friend. I'm really disappointed in some of the stuff he did. However, he's a friend of mine, so I can't be very biased about this. At the same time, I understand why it's, not very a good look, a good look for me to be out there promoting him right now. But I'm going to speak up to him as a friend, and I care for him a lot. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say on the matter, because I want to make sure that he's in a good place as well. And what he did is, I'm not okay with the things that are out there. But at the same time, he's a friend of mine, and you guys got to understand that predicament it puts me in. There's a way for you to condemn the actions and still support your friend. But Hollywood has no interest in ever doing that. They're always throwing the friends by the wayside to cover their own ass. Happens all the time. And so when I saw this clip of now James Franco speaking to Jess Cagle about Seth Rogan, I honestly felt bad for him. You can just tell he feels betrayed. I can't imagine. He's out there trying, he's taken 4 years. He talks about his recovery and things he's done. We'll address that in the show. Again, I'll put the video at the end. We'll go through more of these if you want to watch more of what James Franco has owned up to. However, here's the part about Seth Rogan.
He was asked about me, and I just want to say I absolutely love Seth Rogan. Because I guess I'm talking about because a lot of people come up to me like, I love Seth Rogan. I worked with him for 20 years. We didn't have one fight.
So he's doing what he's doing here. He's got to be careful, because you can't go out there and bash Seth Rogan right now. And I'm sure he doesn't want to. I've been there where friends have turned on you, and you feel for them. You miss them. And you want to try to understand where they're coming from. And the truth is, these two could be talking privately more than we know. Let's be fair. I hope they are. I hope you are, Seth. I hope you are trying to help him and be there for him, being how close you guys were for 20 years.
For 20 years, not one fight. He was my absolute closest work friend, collaborator. And
closest. That means they were close. Clearly.
We just gelled. And what he said is true. We aren't working together right now, and we don't have any plans to work together. Of course, it was hurtful, in context, but...
Now, for part of me thought, okay, maybe this is just what they're telling everybody out there. And Seth and James have talked dude, I can't support you right now. I'm already going through my own stuff. They're coming at me for enabling you. I didn't know all this stuff. I clearly wasn't doing what you were doing. I didn't know the extent of what you were doing, James. This is not cool with me. I'm upset with you. Obviously all that could be happening behind the scenes. So to be fair, I hope that did happen. But when he says hurtful in the context.
In context, but I get it. He had to answer for me because I was silent. He had to answer for me, and I don't want that. And so that's why, it's one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you today. Is I don't want Seth or my brother or anyone to have to answer for me anymore.
I mean, good for him, because I think that's a very honest reason as to why he's doing these interviews. Because the reality is, everybody who's associated with James Franco is going to constantly be asked, what about your creepy brother? What about your creepy colleague? Oh, yeah, what about him? Do you still support him? Do you still support him? Do you still support him? Huh? You don't support him, right? It's a tough spot for these people to be in. And so I do applaud James for coming out, but you can hear the hurt. And if the reality here, and I don't know, I hope this isn't the case. If the reality is they're not talking to each other, and that's really what's going on, that sucks, man. Look, I listened to some of the interview with James. James absolutely made terrible choices. Absolutely. And he owns up to a lot of them. And we're going to go through that again today later on our live show. And if you're watching this later, it'll be at the end of this video. Just click the end screen at the end of this. But the reality check is, he clearly needed friends near him. Now, you could disappoint friends, and friends can be like, look, I've tried. I'm over this. I've tried to help you, James. You just continue to be the worst part of yourself, and I have to focus on me now. I get that. It could be hard for friends. However, when you see how involved these two were together, and Seth's jokingly talking about the young people, I'm way young. Dude, you owe him more than you've given him. You owe us all. I don't expect Seth Rogan to not be biased on this topic, and I don't fault him for it at all. In fact, I would applaud him for standing by his friend who's down and needs help. And I would especially applaud him for not being one of the ones to bash him. Because while you need to do that for the optics of Hollywood, and I get it, guys, when you are a terrible person, and I've done mistakes in my life, I'm sure we all have, your friends are supposed to be there for you through thick and thin. That's what they're there for. They don't have to endorse or approve of what you've done. They don't have to say I signed off on everything they did. No, you can totally disown and say, look, I condemn the actions of this man. However, this man's a friend of mine, and it's important that this man gets help, and I'm there to get his help, and I'm not going to be here continuing the mud thrown in his direction because he's a friend of mine. And I hope you can respect that and understand that from my point of view, this is different than me. And I'm sorry for everyone who spoke up. I don't, it's not fair of me to speak up at all about this topic because of that. If he had just come out more eloquently, because he's a better speaker than I'll be honest. He is, even though everyone thinks he's dumb. Seth Rogen's very, very smart. He's an incredibly, I think, gifted writer, comedic guy. I think he's real. I am still a Seth Rogen fan. However, I'm disappointed when I see this. I know a lot of people want to rag on Rogan, and I'm not trying to just pile on, but as someone who's been there where everyone turns on you because they want to save face in Hollywood or just reveal that they weren't really your friend, it takes guts to be a real person to say, look, my friend was flawed, but it's important I be there for him so he can get through this and hopefully become a better person. That takes real guts. And it's sad when you see somebody you think these two are together and friendly and you're making jokes at his expense and sort of allowing it all to happen, and now you're just going to cut him loose to try and save your own hide. Man, that sucks. This is the first time I'm like, come on, Seth, just don't say anything, or just say, look, he's a friend of mine, and it's a really uncomfortable situation to be in. I don't endorse what he did, but yeah, even if which I think he tried to do. If you really look at this sort of the statement, it does feel like he's trying to sort of acknowledge, like, look, I can't address what we are right now. I don't know if I can define that right now during this interview. I can say, it's changed many things in our relationship and our dynamic, which is pretty fair. The truth is that he and I have not and do not plan to right now, as when it was asked, we'll work with him. Because he said in 2018, he did stand by his friend. In 2018, he's like, I would keep working with James. And the truth is that I have not, and I do not plan to right now. This is like an about face where I'm just like, come on, Seth. You feel the pressure too. Everyone in this town's feeling the pressure, and everyone's sick of the pressure too. You don't have to endorse him publicly. You don't even have to work with him, and you can explain that to James. Like, look, man, we can't make a movie right now. You effed up, but I'm here for you. And therefore, James can say, look, I got a lot of friends who are still close to me, and I'm grateful for that. He doesn't have to name check it. There are ways to navigate this as human beings, and I feel like we've all forgotten how to do that. If you have a close friend who does something terrible, now there's certain things you have to disown a friend. I get it. And it's like, oh my God, I'm just shocked. I had no idea. But Seth Rogen, you had no idea, Seth? That's a lie. You clearly had an idea where to go. You clearly had an idea. For you to say you had no idea is just laughable to me. You clearly knew. You clearly, here it is, as he's making the jokes at his expense at the Saturday Night Live monologue that he did. You clearly knew. And if you're making content like this together, I'm sorry, I feel like you must be close enough to know something's up with your friend. So don't turn your back on a friend. Be there for him. And maybe you are. I hope you are. Maybe this is just bad. You just spoke improperly in the way. But my God, this disappoints me. I hope Seth and James can reunite and at least be friendly behind the scenes. But who knows? Maybe I'm just ignorant to it all. It's all just Hollywood nonsense. It's all fake. All these movies are fake. There is no real friendships. Look, both of these relationships have now broken up. How sad is this reality that we're in? Both of them. Who would have thought the James Franco, Seth Rogen relationship would be as bitter and toxic and divided as the Kim and Kanye one? Oh, I just didn't see that coming in 2021, but there it is. What do you guys think of this? You think I'm off? You think I'm on board? On point, rather? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Before you comment, though, can you do me a favor? Hit that subscribe, hit that bell for all alerts, smash that like button, and leave your thoughts on this topic down below. I'm going to put the full discussion about James Franco. Should we forgive him? Has he taken enough accountability? What did he say in this interview? I'm going to put it right there at the end. Oh, there it is, at the left side there. Click on over there and you can watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching here on Popcorn Planet.